What's up, everyone? Welcome to another UFC Quick Picks here on the Mayo Media Network. We have UFC Louisville this weekend. 14 fights on the slate. Cannonier versus Imavov in the main event. Should be a good one. I am here to give you my favorite cash game play, tournament play, salary play, and a matchup I like from a DraftKings perspective. And before I do, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below. Why don't you give me someone... Why don't you give me a fighter below 7.5K who you think can win? Because I feel like there are several fighters in the cheap tiers who maybe, if not win, can fight more competitively than the line suggests. And I think that'll be a pretty interesting dynamic to build with this week. Some somewhat stars and scrubs. If there's a cheap fighter you like, let me know who it is. Make your call. Always curious to hear what you all have to say. All right, without further ado, let's get into my cash game play of the week, which is going to be Jared Cannonier at 7.6K. There are a lot of underdogs that are viable this week, a lot of competitive fights. And so compared to a standard 10, 12, 11 fight card, I'm not sure that there are musts in a lot of these categories, but I like Cannonier at 7.6K. The main event underdog, but he's only plus 106 to win, so he's now trending as a solid value at that price. Plus, this is 5 rounds. That adds an extra floor and ceiling to the equation, though. In theory, Cannonier could get hurt early, could get finished early, so it's not that he has a great floor in reality, but the most likely outcome is that this fight extends. The fight is... minus 120 to go the full 5-round distance, in which case Cannonier can easily land 120 plus significant strikes, coming off a 5-round win in which he landed 241 significant strikes and 4 takedowns. I think this will be a competitive fight. I can make the case for Cannonier as the underdog, especially given in the championship rounds he's looked far better than Imavov has when Imavov has gone to the championship rounds. But minute to minute, this should be a pretty competitive fight. I think Imavov is more likely to have success early and Cannonier more likely to have success late. From a cash game perspective, though, I do like targeting that main event value, plus 106 to win, 7.6K with 5-round upside. Give me Jared Cannonier in cash games. All right, my tournament play of the week. I am going to go to the top of the board here with Brad Katona at 9.6K, and I don't think he's going to be popular. So if he actually ends up chalky, then I'll be wrong about this analysis in total. But, I mean, Katona's minus 679 to win, nearly minus 700. I don't really think people are going to play him. I think people are definitely going to prioritize Bruno Ferreira. People are going to prioritize Raul Rosas Jr. Carlos Prates is up there. Dustin Jacoby's up there. And Katona at 9.6K. I mean, the guy's never scored 100 points in his career. And I just don't think the public is going to be interested to target a fighter at that kind of price tag with a weak DraftKings box score, especially when he's only plus 155 to win inside the distance. And I understand that. And I like the other names I mentioned, and I'm going to have exposure to the other names I mentioned. But what I will say is that Katona has not fought many times where he's minus 700 to win. And although I'm not certain how this matchup looks, this guy Jesse Butler, who he's fighting, is dropping from 155 to 135. There's a lot of weirdness in that. I'm not even sure if he's going to make the cut, if it's going to hurt him during the fight, if he's going to lose cardio or the ability to take a punch. He's also coming off a loss to Jim Miller in which he was KO'd brutally in 23 seconds. Katona's a better striker here. Katona's a better grappler, a better submission grappler, a better wrestler, better cardio, more experience. Katona's better everywhere. Butler's going to be a little bigger, but that I think comes in part with dropping 2 weight classes, which I don't fully understand. So there's some element of risk in that. There's some element of risk in the fact that Katona's not a finisher on paper, but Katona is a good grappler, is a good striker. Butler's already been KO'd. Katona has submission wins over Bryce Mitchell back on Ultimate Fighter. He's finished people before. This inside the distance line was up at plus 200 earlier in the week. It's now down to plus 155. Again, I like the other fighters in this range, but I think Brad Katona is a really strong pivot because there's a chance that, just based on the money line alone, he goes out there and dominates this fight. He mixes in takedowns, has success over an extended period and wins inside the distance. And if he finds a finish, I think Cannonier can reach an optimal score. You're not going to have a problem paying up to the top this week. There's a lot of salary available below the mid-range. So I am interested in pivoting to Cannonier off some of the more chalky options in the 9K range. All right, my salary play of the week. Where do I go here? There's honestly like half a dozen fighters who I like. And I don't think there's one clear standout. I'm going to talk about Dustin Stoltzfus all the way down at 6.8K in what I could just make as the matchup of the week with Bruno Ferreira. I like Bruno Ferreira a lot. Early finishing potential, early knockout potential. The issue is that Bruno Ferreira has never been past 6 minutes, and in Bruno Ferreira's only pro loss, he was KO'd in round 1. And I definitely worry about that from like a prototype standpoint, because Bruno Ferreira's small and bricked up physically and explosive early. All of his wins come early, but typically that type of style doesn't translate well past round 1. And I mean, he's already been KO'd in round 1. So I'm just worried that Ferreira, like when we look back on this matchup in hindsight, we're going to say Ferreira is like a kill or be killed type. He's going to win early or he's just going to lose inside the distance. And right now, that's not really being priced in. It's being priced as if Bruno Ferreira is going to win this fight early or win by decision. He's nearly minus 300. He's minus 185 to win inside the distance. And Stoltzfus has been KO'd before. I really won't be surprised if Ferreira hurts him early, but Stoltzfus really could have an advantage over an extended period. It's also possible that durability is not strongly in favor of Ferreira. I mean, Ferreira has been knocked out in round 1, too. Stoltzfus just dropped Punahele Soriano. And Stoltzfus should be bigger than Ferreira, a couple inches taller, a few inches extra of reach. That, plus the cardio, plus the general dynamic of Ferreira and how Ferreira has fought throughout his regional and UFC career. I think there's sneaky upside with Dustin Stoltzfus in a fight that's minus 475 to end inside the distance. Yeah, he probably loses, but you're getting a cheap price tag, you're getting leverage, you're getting potential early finishing upside, and it's one of many intriguing salary options for me this week. So I'll be taking a chance on the matchup, but definitely on the underdog there, Stoltzfus at 6.8K. All right, my matchup of the week, going to go with Eduarda Moura versus Denise Gomes. Moura is 8.8K, Gomes 7.4K. Moura's minus 190-ish, minus 190 to beat Gomes. Gomes plus 162. Moura is an early grappler, an early dominant grappler. A lot of her success comes early on the ground, just like in her UFC debut where she dominated Conejo Ruiz with a round 2 TKO, scored 128 points on DraftKings, and we were on Moura in that spot, partially because she dominates on the ground, but partially because Ruiz Conejo's game is just awful, and I really wanted to bet on Moura in that spot. Gomes is a much trickier opponent because Gomes is a power, aggressive boxer. She has survivability in her game, and she has lost a couple times, given up a bunch of takedowns to Angela Hill, to Loma Lookboonmee, not to amazing grapplers. So I definitely think Moura can have success, but again, can Moura have success outside of round 1? Can Moura strike at all? I'm not really sure that she can, and at this point, I would project Gomes to potentially have a significant advantage if the fight plays out on the feet. I also think there's a chance Gomes has significant cardio advantage here. So I see path to victory for both sides. I like Moura at 8.8K because the win for her should come from grappling domination in some regard, either an early submission or grappling over an extended period. She's plus 170 to win inside the distance, but I think any sort of win from her will exceed value at 8.8K. She's a fighter I want to be on. Gomes should provide leverage against Moura and potentially could win inside the distance too. She's only plus 235 inside the distance. She's definitely got power in her hands. And if Moura does have cardio issues, I wouldn't be surprised to see Gomes come back, win or win inside the distance. So one of my favorite matchups to target on the slate. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's UFC Quick Picks. Thank you so much for the support. You can follow me on Twitter, Brett Appley, T. Establish therun.com for all your DraftKings needs. Just spent 2 hours with my boy Gordo Gambles breaking down every single fight on the slate. If you want access to every single fight on the card, written, projections, video, top plays articles, all the good stuff, please check us out, establishedrun.com, or follow me on Twitter for more information. Thank you. Good luck. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.